to Chopped Greens. I am your host, Philip Amrine, sitting alongside my guest host,
Gareth Boucher.
Welcome to the show, Gary. Welcome back. All right, so last week we decided that we have seen enough terrible movies that we were going to go in with both of our eyes wide open and see terrible movies that we ourselves picked.
Yes.
And
I'm tired of walking into a theater optimistic and just being beat down over and over and over again. So we went head on this time.
Yeah, so we hit it head on, hit the train running, and...
But we didn't... These were box office bombs. Not necessarily bad movies, but just didn't do well at the box office.
That's correct. There is a little bit of a discrepancy.
Yes.
So when we both picked these movies, and I actually forgot the rest of the list. I know some of them was like John Carter and Lone Ranger.
Stuff that critically was like decently...
I actually enjoyed John Carter. Yeah. I thought it was a bit of a ripoff from here and there, but in the end, the culmination of scraps of that it was. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
The Legend of the Lone Ranger was awful, but I had hope for both of our movies. Now, I saw Last Action Hero, and you saw...
I watched The Sea of Trees.
And tell me a little bit about that. We'll start with your movie first. Sea of Trees.
All right, first of all, I gotta say, when I tried this movie out on my Amazon Prime, the user rating was fairly high, and I was like, okay. And this logo flashes on the screen, A24. A24 is my favorite studio. They produce like every good indie movie that comes out. They produced The Witch, which is my favorite movie of last year. They've done all these good indie movies, and this was another one of theirs. And most of the movies are really, really high quality. They did Moonlight, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, wow.
So when did this come out approximately?
Sea of Trees, it went to the Cannes, and it did all the festival runs in 2015.
Okay.
It got a theatrical release last year.
And it's with Matthew McConaughey.
Ken Watanabe, and Naomi Watts.
Okay, so we kind of got the movie.
Yeah.
Good cast.
Good director, Gus Van Sant directed Good Will Hunting, a movie we talked about a little bit ago.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, no, it's not excellent, but...
Well, Good Will Hunting
This, I have to say, what the heck, A24? What have you done? This was the worst A24... This is just one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Suicide Squad, at least...
It's debatable?
Yeah, I saw a zombie get killed in Suicide Squad. Will Smith said a few funny one-liners. Like, Margot Robbie looked hot. I don't know. This was just... It was bad. It was just boring. All right, I'm going to give
so it's boring. So its ultimate sin was that it was boring.
Derivative and boring and...
So let's start at the beginning. Because I've never seen the movie, and since it's a box office bust, I'd imagine that most of our audience has not seen.
I've not even heard of it.
Right. So let's go through a little bit more summary than we normally would do.
This was supposed to be a big movie. It had a $25 million budget.
Okay.
It pulled in $800,000 at the box office.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. Terrible. So. It's about Matthew McConaughey is this scientist and professor, and the movie opens with him buying a one-way ticket to Tokyo, playing a character I like to call Smug Matthew. The whole movie he's just smug.
So this is pre Dallas Buyers Club. This
is post. I mean, it came out post, but this is like it's nothing special as far as acting goes.
Right. This is more all right.
This is more like all right. I'm really bored. So he buys a one-way ticket to Tokyo. He's on the plane, and the flight attendant's like, "Would you like any breakfast?" And he looks at her dramatically. He's like, "No, I'm not hungry." And it's sad because the movie takes really serious subjects like depression, adultery, and suicide.
Very, very serious.
Serious topics. Because he goes to this super famous suicide forest, if you've heard of it. It's at the base of Mount Fuji. It's this place in Japan where like a lot of people, it's like famous for suicides. A lot of people go there to kill themselves. And he has chosen to do this. And the whole movie is told through flashbacks. Every 10, 15 minutes you flash back to a little bit of his life, and you find out that he's gone to this forest because he cheated on his wife and their marriage deteriorated, and she gets cancer and gets hit by a truck when she's in an ambulance, and she dies, and he can't handle it anymore. So
was she holding a puppy while the bus hit her?
That is literally like
they're really hitting you over the head with that sadness.
There's this scene where they have this dramatic argument, and she holds her head because she's so frustrated, and then blood drips out of her nose, and she has cancer. It's it's so bad.
Is it Naomi Watts who plays the wife?
Yes, Naomi Watts is the wife, and fine performance by her, I guess. But when like the dialogue is just cheese, it's like, yeah, you've never changed. Well, I've never wanted to. oh, I thought you would get over it. Well, I never will. It's just so bad. And so he goes into the forest and he starts taking pill by pill to end his life, and he sees another man in the distance who is also... This man has slit his wrist, and he is in the middle of dying, and he's in pain, and it's Ken Watanabe, and he goes to help him. And from this point, it changes from depressing film on meditating on life to survival thriller film, because he helps this guy out, and then like a blizzard and hurricane, and like it starts raining, and they like fall down these rocks, and they both like break all these bones.
Is this all happening within a couple minutes? Or?
Yes. I mean, it switches. Okay, because of the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. Flashbacks, when they come this often, really mess up a story, because you don't gain any traction. So at first you're like, okay, this is kind of interesting and sad, like he's gonna kill himself, and then it flashes back to like him and his wife arguing in the car. Then it flashes back to him once again in the forest, and the story just chugs along and nothing happens, and really messes up the narrative. So yeah, it turns into this survival film where they find a tent, and they're like keeping each other warm, and they're telling each other stories about why they were going to kill themselves, and it's just so cheesy, and it's really bad because it's such a serious topic, but you can't help but be like, oh my god, this is bad, right?
Right. And
then eventually, you find out he and his wife rebuild their relationship because she has cancer and she's going to die, and then totally predictable, she lives, so you already know because of him being in the forest that his wife is dead, but she lives through her surgery and her cancer is removed, and it's like, alright, well, she's still going to die. And they're having this cute little phone conversation in the ambulance, and you're like, all right, here it comes. A car's going to hit this ambulance, and then 2 seconds later, a semi hits the ambulance and kills her on impact, and Matthew McConaughey's sobbing, and it's like...
And he heard it, yeah.
Oh,
my
goodness. And it's
like,
it's so bad. And then he goes back and basically...
But wait. Was he sobbing dramatically in a good way or a bad way?
Oh, I actually have a whole note written on his ugly cry.
Yes, because we've had this discussion on ugly cries.
So basically what happens is Ken Watanabe's character is too weak to leave the forest. So Matthew McConaughey is like, I'm going to go get help because we have both decided to not kill ourselves. So he's walking and he falls down a cliff. Like this fall that would kill he falls like 100 feet and like smacks down on a rock. You can hear like this crunch. And then he just lays there all splayed out and he goes, no. And the camera stays on him for like 45 seconds as he just wails. And then these rescuers find him, and he gets back on his feet. And then he goes back to the forest to find Ken because he's his buddy now. And then he realizes Ken wasn't even real. He was like the essence of the forest speaking to him, because Ken's character believed that the forest was like purgatory and that the spirits of life try to bring people. It was ridiculous, and Ken has this voiceover, and he's like, "You are not going to kill yourself. You are going to live for me and your wife, and you will meet us in the afterlife." And it's just ridiculously dumb. And
okay, so
that's my plot summary, and it's like everything happens but nothing happens. It's such a pointless film.
And that's the end of it.
That's the end. Well, I mean, he goes back to his home. And he decides,
again on a first class
plane,
airplane.
But this time, when the flight attendant offers him breakfast, he gladly takes it, showing that he's a changed man because he takes the food on the flight.
Of course. Now we'll know that somebody like Luke Wright is a changed man if he gets breakfast on a plane. He absolutely hates breakfast. So he's a changed man. He goes back. Okay, so overall, you said that it's a terrible movie because it's boring.
It's boring, and also it doesn't have a genre. It goes from melodrama to survival thriller to romance to comedy. When Matthew McConaughey lays on a rock and goes, "Aah!" And
that might be my new ringtone.
So cheesy. It's the screen is so dark that half the film, like I turned all my lights off. I turned the brightness on my TV all the way up. I couldn't see what was happening. Because it's supposed to be like dramatic and it's about depression and suicide, so they really darkened like everything in the frame. And you can't see anything. It's ridiculous. And then of course at the end of the film, it's all bright because he's happier. It's a visual motif, right?
Right.
It's so dumb. And then there's just like these little one-liners. Like Matthew McConaughey's character is like an atheist and his wife is religious, and he says, "God is more our creation than we are His." And they have like all these philosophical arguments, and it reminded me of the movie God's Not Dead, where like anybody who doesn't believe in God is just like an immoral, like know-it-all who has no purpose to life, and then like he finds God at the end of the film, and it's just so sentimental and dumb, honestly.
Okay, so so in the end, you would give it what score on the Rotten Tomatoes 0 to 100?
8.
An 8. 8.
8
Not
out of
an
100.
18, an 8.
An 8. It doesn't even break the double digits. This is like in the top 3 worst movies I've ever seen. It wasn't even like fun bad, like where you can sit down and like kind of get drunk and watch it and laugh, be like, this is so dumb. It was just like, it was a snoozer.
Like Dumb and Dumber, maybe?
Yeah,
like that's so bad it's kind of good.
Yeah, my girlfriend Madi, who's sitting next to me, knows that when I watch a movie, I get mad if you talk, if you make a noise, because I like to immerse myself and watch. But this movie, I
create
found myself,
an ambiance.
I kept on checking my phone. I was like, God, what time is it? When is this going to be over? I was getting distracted. I was like, God, I just want it to be done.
Yes.
There's no point.
I totally understand where you're coming from because my movie, Last Action Hero, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and a whole bunch of other cast cameos, was a whole 2 hours and 10 minutes.
2 hours? Oh no.
2 hours. 2 friggin' hours and 10 minutes.
You're never getting those back, man.
I can never get that back. And I swear, it was a feat of personal perseverance.
Yeah.
Say that 3 times fast. Personal perseverance to sit through all 2 hours and 10 minutes of that movie.
Because of it. You're a better man now.
Okay, so let me break this whole movie down for you. Again, we're going to be doing a little bit more summaries of this particular movie because hopefully you have not seen this movie.
Please
and again, later on in the movie slate we have for the rest of the summer,
it's going to be so much.
There are going to be so much better movies. It's
blockbuster time, folks.
I know some of the comments that we've received are that it's a little bit depressing because all the movies we seem to hate. But
we came in tail end of Oscar season and we've done all these in the spring.
I know we came in literally at the wrong time for happiness. All right, so here we go. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Last Action Hero, comes out in 1993, so it's been out as long as I've been on this earth, 21 years. Yep. And let me tell you...
21 years? That's 24 years. You're 24?
I'm 23.
Wow.
Yeah, so it hasn't hit my birthday yet. So anyways, I'm sorry. But unlike me, it did not age gracefully.
No.
It is
so bad it gets better every time you watch it.
Oh no, it is so bad. Okay, let me set the scene for you here that I had to open upon this movie. So the opening movie is there's a big building, think Die Hard-esque, and that there's cops surrounding this building.
Yes,
and
I love it already.
And the spotlight is going up there, and they're like, "He's good! Oh goodness gracious, let the children go!" And so everybody's like, "Get some cops out there!" And it's so dramatic. And then all of a sudden, Arnold Schwarzenegger walks on top of cop cars. of piled cop cars to get to the main building. Yes. And they're saying, and what's his, I forget what his name is. It's Jack Slater. His name is Jack Slater.
Arnold's character's name is Jack?
Arnold's character is Jack
like Boris
Slater. So they're saying, Slater, don't you go in there. Wait for I called for another interpreter. And he says, if you don't go in there, I'm gonna take your badge. And he says, take it. And he throws it. He throws it to him, and he just goes in, and they're like, "Somebody stop him!" And the guy near the building entrance like stands up, and he kicks him for like 20 feet away with a really bad boom like sound effect. 1 second later, he's at the top of the roof, and he says, so then we're faced with him, and he's looking at his son, which is made apparent very quickly, and against this fishhook. Axe-holding villain who's very evident that he's a villain because he's half bald.
He's got a fishhook axe, right?
And he's got an axe.
He's bad.
In the I Know What You Did Last Summer esque. And so, anyways, it goes to this whole thing only for the audience to find out that this is a movie within a movie. So the movie within a movie is really bad. So, so this was really bad.
Even Steven's movie right here.
Right. So I'm thinking, okay, let's just take a step back. This was supposed to be purposeful. For some reason, this movie is really bad, but it's going to be getting better here now that we're back in quote-unquote real life.
Yeah.
So then the movie proceeds to go along with Benedict. And he's again... child actor, and
Phil don't like child actors.
I do not like child actors.
They can ruin a movie.
And it
2
did.
seconds.
And it did.
And it's a 90s child actor, so it's like Mrs. Doubtfire level of like...
And I'll give him credit. He had the energy that I don't sometimes see in boy child actors, but that did not save him. And this whole story revolves around the premise that in this theater... the crazy old man running the theater, the projector, has a Houdini ticket that Houdini himself gave to this projectionist, and the ticket is actual magic. So for one, Houdini, who is a fake magician, somehow got it in India, and it's been passed down from magician to magician to now this out of nowhere projectionist to now going to this kid because the old man is somewhat crazy and always falls asleep during the movies. And so he gives it to him, immediately rips it, and you see it like a little magic spark. And so he's now watching this new Jack Slater movie, Jack Slater 4, I believe.
Okay, so Arnold Schwarzenegger...
Arnold Schwarzenegger plays dual roles. He plays Arnold Schwarzenegger himself.
Wait, oh god. Okay.
He's Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor, playing Jack Slater. So now we go to Jack Slater 4, the big movie release, and it's now into the movie, and the kid's watching this movie until finally he's pulled into the movie with a piece of freaking TNT because it explodes in the theater, and he gets blown into the movie. And
oh man, it's hurting my head.
Yes, it's very convoluted and unnecessarily so. And the whole beginning, at this point, I'm saying the whole beginning was pointless because we could have easily started here, chopped off 20 minutes of film time, and been fine. But no, we are. And I can appreciate a movie that tries, right? And a movie that's trying to be sophisticated unto itself. I mean, if we're going James and the Giant Peach, that's a way to go animated while being a little bit more nuanced by being able to get adults involved or having a deeper story. This tried, but it made the ultimate sin of doing a scream of itself, where it's totally aware of its ridiculousness and making itself a joke, but it was at the same time trying to be serious. So it had these two conflicting inner dialogues of, haha, this is a joke, go on and laugh, and then the other one is, but really, follow us.
I did not expect this to be what that movie was.
Neither did I. For the audience that listened last week,
movie.
No, for the audience that listened last week, I even had the wrong movie in mind. I thought that this was going to be another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that was the one that based off of Mockingjay, where people go in and kill each other. This was not even that. This is just a bad action film that somehow got budgeted. So it's along this time that the kid gets pulled into the movie. And again, we're like, okay, I can kind of understand that premise. It's a good premise, I guess, like going in, immersing yourself into a movie. And around this time is the time that Arnold Schwarzenegger shoots one single bullet into a ice cream truck just driving down the lane, shoots it at the gas tank. The ice cream truck explodes, and the bad guys shooting at them and a car behind them. One of the men dies because a ice cream cone penetrates the back of his head, full on with a scoop of cookies and cream ice cream.
Well, that's a nice touch.
A cookies and cream ice cream scoop. Gary, that's when I gave up. The second time.
Tell me, which end pierces his head? Is it the ice cream?
It's the bottom end. The piercing. It's the point. You can't pierce a skull with ice cream.
I was wondering.
Let alone an ice cream cone, but at least they got that factually correct.
So, the cone pierces the back of his head, and then Schwarzenegger, let me take a gander, picks up the head and eats the ice cream off of the head.
No, but he does give the one-liner of some ridiculous. No one-liner was spared. No pun was spared. Of
course not.
Every single one was said by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Looks like he got creamed.
Yeah, something along those lines, actually, I believe, or something like "No ice cream for you" or something. And so later on, the kid becomes his partner. Why, I couldn't tell you, but for some reason,
so he becomes his partner in Jack Slater 4.
Because Jack Slater's a police officer.
Yeah,
and he becomes his partner in the movie. Couldn't tell you why. And then later on, there is a character. One of the big reveals is that one of the villains is planning this mass thing where he will take over the mob by having one of the mafia men die. All the rest of the entire mob gathers together to go to this funeral, and implanted in the dead mafia member is a gas bomb. Now the member is known as Defart. So Defart will blow one last time. Oh, no. I cannot make this up, Gary.
I was like, what movie is this? And again, they were movies.
And they were aware, and they were like, so what you're saying is Defart will blow one last time. And that's when I gave up part 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was 2 hours dragged along.
I was going to say, you watched an over 2 hour movie.
Over 2 hours that was overly produced. And Let me tell you that there were some big name cameos in this besides Arnold Schwarzenegger. There was Jim Belushi, there was Chevy Chase, Robert Patrick, Sharon Stone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Damon Wayans. I mean, and then finally the biggest last touch. I mean, there was also Danny DeVito was a cat cop in there. Was a cartoon cat cop in the movie, and Sir Patrick Harris. Sir Patrick Stewart? Sir Patrick Stewart, rather. Excuse me. He actually has a role in this where he gets following the ticket moves along the lines, and so he comes out of his own movie and he becomes death. And it tries to become this theological thing where Jack Slater, since he's fiction, can't die, and it's this whole redundancy thing that I didn't see coming because, frankly, by the end of the 2 hours, I was ready to give up at this ending. No, it should end here. No, please just end it. Please just, and it just kept going on and on.
I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
Was it fun? Did you have fun? Like, were there a few moments where you're like, huh?
It offended me. Comedically. It offended me as a comedian, even. It was just so awful. I can, trust me, in real life, I am a punster to the death. Yeah. I will make every pun available. We have dad
jokes up the wazoo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like I already have a kid and a mortgage, and I have the belly for it, too. So.
Oh, yeah. No, trust me. I can appreciate it. But with Arnold Schwarzenegger fully making this and trying to seriously act, I give him all the credit in the world for making an effort. It was just horrifically bad, and that they would continue on this movie for 2 hours just absolutely freaking blew my mind.
It will get better the more we put in.
Apparently, and really, there was just no saving this movie. Like an interesting premise, I'll give it that. An interesting premise where I was like, okay, you know what? I actually can kind of see where this is going, where a kid, somebody who really loves action films gets pulled into a film, what happens
It's
next?
like Mike for action films, right?
Right, but the action film movie is supposed to have all the cliches and puns involved, and when we stay most of the movie inside this movie, it just then absorbs the badness of the bad movie.
In my head, and then there's like a mafia movie part of it. Defart. Blow again. Yeah.
Frankie. Move the crane. I don't know, because there's a crane. Yeah.
Good?
No, get to the chopper.
Get to the chopped greens now.
Get to the chopped greens.
Maybe we can hit up Arnold and get him to do like a little sound bit for us. Get to the chopped greens.
And then again,
and we can tell him, dude, we loved your movie, The Last Action Hero.
It was so good. It was so good.
You were fan. I mean,
the other day
where's the Oscar?
I saw the other day was Arnold Day. I think it was maybe like a month ago.
He's very active now.
And then he also plays Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film.
He plays Arnold Schwarzenegger. He plays himself.
And they come face to face at one point, and
so it's like Logan, where like he fights himself.
Yeah, pretty much. But this is like not good. Prime Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he's pretty buff. And he's like, "Wow, you're the best lookalike I've ever seen." And he's like, "Please, you caused me so much trouble." It's just this back and forth of complete and utter ridiculousness. And I think really the ultimate sin where it finally died upon the cross of bad moviedom is where it just tried to be funny and yet was not, and then it tried to be thoughtful, was not, and yet it also was absorbed by the bad movie that it was portraying.
That's like my movie, like it tries to hit the melodrama note and the suicide note and the I don't know, just the tragedy note. And if we put a drinking game where every time one of these movies tried to hit a note, we could kill a small horse.
And really, I'm not going to kill you if you try something outlandish and succeed to a small degree. It's just, if you're actually going for something, don't just half go about it.
You got to go all out.
You got to go all out to the chopper.
Have you seen that Arnold's bodybuilding documentary, Pumping Iron?
No. No. Is that a 30 for 30?
No, it's not. It came out in the 80s, and he's got lots of little one-liners like, I like to work out to make me feel like I'm the king of the moon. Just crazy stuff like that.
I'm the king of the moon.
King of the moon. I could jump all the way to Saturn with my legs.
I bet he could have at that age, though. He was really pumped.
Wow, that's great.
Wow. All right, but thank God that he came around, so that way we have such a styled voice actor. I don't even know if he could ever play if he could play voice actor of any sort because it would just be Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you get him to do voiceover work is because it's like, oh, it's Arnold's voice. Like, everyone's going to watch it because we have Arnold.
But he could never be... I'm trying to think. Mark Hamill has played Luke Skywalker. I mean, that's like one of the best voice actors of all time, so that's not even fair.
He's almost a better voice... I think he's probably a better voice actor in a sense than he is as far as like a skilled actor. Because he can do more things with the voice than he can
incredibly.
Emoting on a screen, for sure. I was going to go down to Taji Station and get some paracooters with my friends. Uncle Owen.
I have no idea where that's from, but okay.
3PO, please!
Oh, I see.
New Hope.
Yeah,
he whines through the whole script. It's so bad.
Okay. But I mean, even Alec Baldwin as Boss Baby has a little bit more emotion.
Boss Baby.
Yeah, so...
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I could not imagine seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger auditioning for Simba or something.
That's like with that new
movie. Matata.
What a wonderful phrase. Look, I'm the father.
Could you imagine? All right, let's end this minute. Oh, before I go on.
What's your Rotten Tomatoes?
My Rotten Tomatoes score.
Out of 100, what's your score?
It's so incredibly bad, and anytime as I was watching this, there was 5 discernible moments where I could not control myself physically, and I would just go, oh! Like, I would literally groan and moan while watching this, and not in a good way. It was all just painful, so physical and verbial eye rolling that I just was full body on, oh!
That is the sound that came out of every 14 to 16-year-old girl's mouth at my work today when they say, do you have the unicorn frappuccino? And I said no, and they went, ah! every person did that.
All right, this is now just getting into...
What are we doing?
It's just becoming Arnold again. And I got to self-edit myself for that, but it was worth it.
That's the first time you ever said it.
That's the first and hopefully the only time I ever say that.
It's going to hit.
I'm never going to say Arnold, whatever I just said, again. And... Arnoldisms.
Excellent. The PG version.
So, from now on, we will...
You never said your rating.
Oh, my rating. Let's just give it a freaking... let's give it a freaking 10.
Wow, you're so generous with your ratings.
Yeah, but I got to give it a 5 for each muscle in Arnold's body. Because he's a perfect 10.
5 for bicep.
Yeah. Pumping 10. So we're going to push forward to Give Me 5. I've been writing this for so long, and I actually think...
Writing or...
No, writing, because I wanted to give you the best 5 I could possibly do.
Yeah.
And I will be honest with you, Maddie is going to own you in another game. Not Uberfacts. I did not do Uberfacts.
God, the Uberfacts kill me.
I know they do.
So bad at Uberfacts.
But this one, I think you might have a chance because...
I beat her last time. She bought me dinner. Yeah, I bought dinner.
I was going to say. I don't think you did. You can never really win. All right, but let's see if you can beat me in Give Me 5. You ready?
Let's do it.
Time for some personal rejuvenation? Visit Aquarius Salon's award-winning stylists and get ready for summer. They do color, cuts, and highlights for your everyday wear, as well as services for proms, weddings, or any special events you have scheduled. Visit Aquarius on the northeast corner of Bell and 51st. Call 602-978-1774 for your appointment. Again, that's 602-978-1774 on the northeast corner of Bell and 51st. And tell them Philip from Chopped Green sent you. Alright, so besides the Mulan quotes that we've been doing during the break there...
You may be a host, but you will never bring your podcast honor.
Well, maybe if I did it on location on top of a cow. Cow. Alright, Gary, let's flip a coin. Winner gets to go first. Are you ready?
Yep.
Call it in the air.
Tails.
Oh, it's on the side. I'll go first. Alright. Gary, today is 420, and we all know what day that means. Everybody together? 3, 2, 1. Lima Bean Respect Day.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. Not what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, guys, get your mind out of the gutter.
Yes, in honor, and I'm being serious, it is Lima Bean Respect Day. Who knew?
I love lima beans. I'm not even kidding. I go crazy for them.
Well, here you go. You might actually have a chance in this one. In honor of such a tremendously underappreciated holiday such as Lima Bean Day, I have 5 facts about lima beans that I want you to tell me if they are true or if I completely made them up.
Where do you find this stuff?
And it just comes from the beauty of my mind. All right, Gary, are you ready?
I am.
And your girlfriend is sitting next to us. So go ahead and say hi. Introduce yourself.
I am Madi. I am Gary's beloved.
That's my boo thing.
All right, Maddie. We'll get you. She's a little shy, but we'll get you. Are you ready for lima beans?
Heck yeah.
There we go. Heck yeah. All right. Fact number 1. Lima beans have green compound leaves that consist of 3 large heart-shaped leaflets. Gary, is that true or false?
Oh, it's true. It's totally true.
Maddie?
False.
It is absolutely 100% true.
I told you I love lima beans. I knew it.
Gary's on the board with 1. Maddie still has a lot of time to catch up.
Guess who's going to pay for dinner?
No, we already ate dinner.
I didn't eat dinner. All right, lima beans are potent deodorizers that can be used in shoes to reduce foot odor. Gary, is that true or false?
That's something you got off Holes or something.
Holes? Oh, the movie?
Honey, smell the shoe. What do you smell? I smell nothing.
Money. All right. So, anyways, is
false.
You're saying false.
True.
It is absolutely false. Gary is up 2-0. All right. Next one. Lima beans.
Cheesecake.
Lima beans are one of the few food items that are actually negative calories to eat, along with celery and lime. Is that true or false, Gary?
That's totally false.
Totally false.
True.
Wow, Gary is 3-0.
a negative calorie?
Maddie, you got to get on the board. Actually, though, celery and lime are negative calories, not beans, not the beans, not the lima beans,
not legumes.
All right, next one. Lima beans can spike testosterone and are inside multiple health bar recipes such as Nature Valley and Kind. Gary,
I can attest to that. That's true.
all right, Maddie.
Jesus Christ.
Maddie,
True.
you're finally going with Gary on this one. That's the wrong way to go. You both are off the board. Maddie, you have 1 question to get on the board.
I'm winning the game.
All right, last fact here. Lima beans gained their name from early boxes of the bean being transported from South America, specifically being labeled from Lima, Peru.
Peru. I'm going to say it
Gary?
is true. That is good fact, and I agree with you.
So he's saying that's true for non-French speakers who can't speak Frenchy doobie-doo. All right, Maddie.
Sound like I just hit a
I
cat.
don't know anything about lima beans, so I'm gonna say true.
You never took a class on legumes and leaves in high school?
No.
Well, Maddie finally got on the board. Woo! Gary ran the table 4-1. Not perfect, but close. That's the best you've ever done on a game here. Congratulations,
I think
Gary.
I won 5-0 every week on Uber Facts.
I think you mean 0-5. You flipped it.
I've always gotten at least one right. I always get one.
Well, I hope you feel really good. You know so much about lima beans.
You know what? I do. Thank you.
And not about the other plant that today is associated with for some reason.
Oh,
Great. We
wait.
should have had questions about that.
Wow. All right, Gary, go ahead with your first question.
My first question, a little bit related to my movie, but it's about Mr. Matthew McConaughey. And
Okay.
I have one stipulation for your answer. You have to do the whole thing in a Matthew McConaughey impression, because you're very good at it.
All right.
So Matthew McConaughey, he became famous for doing romantic comedies in the mid-2000s, and then he became a prestigious actor by doing movies like The Lincoln Lawyer, Wolf of Wall Street, and then obviously
Lincoln
Dallas
Lawyer.
Buyers Club.
Like rolling a booger in a Lincoln. You just keep on doing it. Till finally.
So my
to
question for
Sahara.
you, he hasn't he obviously has name recognition as always, but is the reconnaissance over? Is he just gonna go back to doing kind of cheeseball movies and
Took
Lincoln
you a long
commercials?
time to think of that word, didn't it?
Or is he gonna further his craft? Or is the reconnaissance done?
I tell you what, Matthew McConaughey is a national treasure. And he will find gold. No, but seriously, I'm actually pretty proud of myself on that one, to be completely honest.
That's nice.
Oh my God. But no, I think right now he's in that post-Oscar slump that very many people, and most notably that comes to my mind, Cuba Gooding Jr.
You and Cuba, man.
I know. I'll never forgive him for Snow Dogs. I really expected some quality content out of that movie and left the Alaskan frontier fully disappointed.
Oh no.
So I think he will go back, especially if they do Interstellar 2. I will be fully engaged in that. And in fact, I think Interstellar came out after he won his Oscar, correct?
It did.
So
he's kind of, he's at the point in his career where he can pick and choose his projects, and yet people are coming to him, but
and yet he chose gold.
He chose the Sea of Tears.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that was before he won his Oscar.
No, it was after.
It came out after, but that doesn't mean that he did the work before.
He won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club in 2013, and Sea of Trees didn't start filming until 2014.
Well, I'll tell you what. You, bud, need to go to the Sahara, because the Sahara is where you find all your acting chops, all right? You get them on.
I love
in
that
a little
movie.
Bag, all right? The Sahara, that's all we got to do, bud.
I'm scared right now.
I got a beetle on my chest. I just got to be. Another bug. Masturbation. All right. I'm sorry. All right, gotta edit that one out. All right. Following that lovely. I don't know where that's coming from either. All right. Gary, this is my first question on this. Gary, do you love pizza?
I love pizza. Yeah, it's like my top 3 favorite foods.
Oh, fantastic! Because you should move directly to Europe, where Domino's is making it that much easier to get your pizza delivered. Starship Technologies, the London-based company that has created six-wheeled self-driving delivery robots, will begin taking customers the Domino's pizzas in Germany and the Netherlands. So the company will whisk pizzas to customers' doors if they live within a 1 mile radius of certain,
whisk?
like, just like vroom. Like just driving, maybe in Lincoln's. Certain Domino's pizza shops in select German and Dutch cities, quote unquote.
Sounds great. Germany's a great place.
Yes. Well, that's my question, Gary. Will this pizza delivery bot catch on, or will Americans tell the bot to take a hike?
No, I think that it'll catch on because maybe like in the form of drones and everything. Because here, Amazon's getting the drones. Pizza places are getting automated delivery, and with self-driving cars, I can guarantee you, like, the bigger chains will start driving, or they'll start getting self-driving pizza cars and pizza drones. This is, like, probably not for, like, 10 years till all the legislation gets pushed through and people stop getting... I mean, imagine in 10 years you look up in the sky and there's just, like, little black drones carrying pizzas. That's, like, that's such a feat of human innovation. It's gonna hit.
The only thing that's gonna get hit are those drones by all the hicks down in...
I shot 2 of them yesterday.
Mom, get the gun. We got some skeet shooting over here. Oh, there's pepperoni. Did you want some of the extra cheese? Yeah, it's not gonna work. Not gonna work in certain areas. Maybe New York.
Yeah,
maybe there somewhere.
You go to California or New York.
Actually, I think it actually really would work in New York, especially if it's flying, because think of all those apartment levels. You could go directly. That way you don't have to travel all the way down in a crowded elevator.
That's good.
Freaking genius, Gary.
You know what, though?
Excellent question by myself, Gary.
My first job ever was as a pizza delivery driver, and it's a great first job. And so I'd be sad for all the teenage weirdos who wouldn't get to do it.
Yeah, those. Not
to bag on pizza drivers, because I actually made more money than I do now.
Oh,
I'm doing just pizza. Like as far as cash goes, like I was rolling.
You were rolling in the dough?
Yeah.
All right. Gary, it goes to you.
All right. So big news this week. We talked 2 weeks ago about Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yes,
we were both flat wrong. We asked sort of, will these allegations affect Bill O'Reilly? What do you think is going to happen? We said, he'll probably stay there. He's got a really loyal fan base, and Fox is obviously he's their biggest catch. Well, just like 2 days ago, Fox let him go. Not going to be part of Fox anymore. He's the biggest cable news host of any network.
Number 1 show for 15 years on cable.
So here's the thing. I ask you, Fox is known for being very consistent and with their fan base, but where does Fox go now? Are they going to lose viewers? Are they going to... Because Tucker Carlson is taking his place. Obviously not as big of a personality or a draw. How do you think Fox recovers? Where do they go? Do they change their outlook? Because this is obviously them taking action on a big issue, sexual harassment allegations,
right,
which are being brought up on both the left and the right side of the aisle. It's been hurting a lot of political figures. So what happens now?
Well, I'll tell you, money talks. So more so than not, I haven't looked directly at the ratings since the news broke as compared to before. But I don't. If I saw correctly in the news, I don't think his ratings dropped that much. In fact, I would imagine that they probably went up, and
people
everybody
probably
tuning in to see if he would address it, if they would ever cancel the show altogether to make sure that he's still there.
You said money talks, and he lost so many advertisers.
Yeah, it was around
a big thing.
It was around 60. Last time we talked about this, it was around 30. But
around 60.
And that's where I'm going with this, is that once it reached 60, it's not a matter of ratings, and if you can't profit off of them. It doesn't matter if the whole world's watching you, if you're continuously doing something, if you're not getting paid for it. So while Fox was, I think, loyal somewhat to those ratings, they were more loyal to the business, and at some point, it doesn't matter if everybody's watching if you're not going to be able to put Cool Whip or whatever to advertise. So as far as your direct point of where do they go from here, I unfortunately, I don't know about unfortunately, excuse me, but really I don't think it matters. In the sense of they kind of gained their fan base. This is really, their fan base is the right side of the aisle, and heaven help them, or heaven, good for them that they have a conduit for which to go get their news. And I really think that they really established themselves as the premier place that people on that side of the aisle go to get their news. So I think that originally when Bill first started, he was kind of the draw, right? And he kind of got them all. And then they stayed to him, but then ventured throughout the rest of the Fox shows as they could. So now that it goes to Tucker Carlson, I mean, Bill, when we look at his age even, I think that it wasn't like he was long for this world, or not for this world, heaven forbid. I'm just saying long for that TV job. Yeah. Even though I do think he's a workaholic, so it's interesting to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, does he get picked up by like one of the smaller conservative
because you see like Conan
he...
O'Brien leave NBC to go to TBS. Now he's not as politically charged as say Bill O'Reilly, Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if Bill O'Reilly can dial it back. I know he used to be an Inside Edition back in the day, where he has one of his infamous rants of he's trying to film a promo and he's like, "We'll do it live. We'll do it live," and it's hilarious. It's actually hilarious. Totally free plug. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly yelling. Might have to wade through a couple things.
Every episode ever.
But I really think that they've really established their fan base. Maybe that number one show kind of gets dispersed now and it spreads to just general viewing. Maybe it doesn't hold that dominant position with the name recognition and brand recognition that Bill O'Reilly had. But otherwise, I don't see it really devastating Fox News per se.
Yeah.
As it normally would. All right, Gary, Captain America is going to Broadway. Or more specifically, Chris Evans is going to make his Broadway debut, starring opposite of Michael Cera in Lobby Hero. The play...
Chris Evans and Michael Cera in a Broadway show?
Cera, yes. The play comes from Oscar winner Kenneth Lonergan, who won this past year, who won the Oscar for Manchester by the Sea. So, this got me thinking, Gary, which talent do you think would cross over into another section of the arts seamlessly? So somebody who hasn't done it openly so far. So I'm thinking like Bruno Mars, I could easily see being a bigwig actor, or maybe Kevin Spacey being in a musical on Broadway. I know he's done some Broadway stuff.
Yep.
Who do you got?
You know what? We're seeing that a lot recently with like Lady Gaga winning an Emmy, Donald Glover doing like everything.
Look
like,
no further than The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Like these kind of not even actors or musicians. They are personalities. They do everything. Someone who hasn't done it, who I think could do it. Let's see. So Anthony Hopkins is also like a really prestigious composer, and he's a great actor.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I like that.
Yeah, he's like, and he
I wasn't even thinking of the back behind the scenes guys, but I could totally see maybe even being like a screenwriter or something.
Really
smart guy.
We saw people like Anne Hathaway, Hugh Jackman show their talent,
and then there's even people like Clint Eastwood who go from the screen to being directors.
To directing. Okay, well, are we talking like staying in film and doing different jobs?
You can kind of cheat. I'm just saying if they're known as being an actor, they move on.
Well, here's the thing. Some of my favorite people, Matt Damon. He obviously he writes, he acts, he produces. He's never directed.
He's directed a commercial before.
That's true. But his best buddy Ben is like probably a better director than he is an actor, I think. And I think the next step for Matt Damon would be directing something.
Do you think he's capable of that?
Yeah, totally. I think I'm interested. I don't know if I mean, we haven't seen it, but I think that he's someone he's going to slow down his acting and really start to take on... He was supposed to direct Manchester, but he gave it away, so I think he's going to take on more kind of prestigious indie projects.
Yeah. Again, for me, my big home run was Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars guy's acting, so friggin' talented.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Imagine, you know what? Kendrick Lamar.
People like that are, and even like Kanye, I say what you will about them, they're just artists in the pure sense of the word.
Exactly.
So I could definitely see something like that. Gary, yesterday, it's your question. Why am I asking? go ahead. But.
All right, I'm gonna tie us into a little bit of b-ball talk.
Oh, basketball?
Yes, basketball. The only b-ball that there is.
Baseball.
Baseball's not a sport. Just kidding. I'm
beer ball.
Base kid ball.
Billabong ball.
Billiard
ball.
Billiard ball.
Bob's ball.
Whoa.
I meant Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, basketball talk. So if you guys didn't listen to our podcast, we made predictions about the NBA playoffs. And
go back and listen to it. It's fantastic.
Yes, we were very opinionated, and it was really a fun time. And Luke Wright was totally Luke wrong at this point. I got two things.
Oh God.
Two upsets that are happening in the East right now.
Yes.
One. Yes. Okay. Boston is the number one seed. They'd be the first number one seed to get knocked out in a long time if they do. My first question, does that happen? They lost both their home games. Does Boston come roaring back, or do they fade away? And then Toronto, a bit of a closer series. Does Toronto get knocked out by the young Milwaukee Bucks?
Right.
What happens there?
I'll tell you what, Gary, in a short answer, I actually predicted this in the sense of after the first weekend. Yes, after the first weekend.
Not during our podcast. Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
But I hedged my bet.
This coming.
No. I did. No, after the first weekend of games, and I saw all the first round matchups.
Yeah,
I totally called it. I said, you know what? I told Luke. He totally disagreed with me, but I went out on that limb, and you know what? The other side of the hill is totally green.
That I was gonna say.
Come to the Bucks side of the nation. Let's go, Milwaukee. Get those Canadians out of here. Get those Raptors back up in the north.
It's just like we said, the West is being really predictable as always.
Oh, yeah.
But the East is like, it's a toss-up. And we might have a one seed losing because Boston's like the weakest one seed. In a while.
We've seen it. We've seen some recent examples of it. The Spurs losing to the Grizzlies. I'm trying to think. Some Golden State Warrior teams beat the Miami Heat, but it hasn't been. I mean, there've been few and far. You can count it on your hand.
It's been a while.
And the fact that they're down 0-2, losing both of their home court games.
That's right.
Unless if for some miraculous reason,
one game in Toronto, in Chicago, and Chicago is a tough place to play. You know that Wade and Butler are going to bring it in Chicago even more than they did.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Chicago team does not miss points. They don't have a 3-point. They don't have a shooting team as far as 3-pointer, and they don't have that range. But they will take all the easy buckets you allow them.
Yeah.
And that Celtics defense is just letting everybody through. It's not being
a lot more of a
by Brad
team,
Stevens.
A lot of heart, a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm. And that inefficiency of Isaiah Thomas to guard is actually really coming into play with Rondo driving towards the basket and kicking it out to Butler for easy buckets. And
playoff Rondo, he always does good things in the playoffs.
He got a triple-double, I believe, in the second game. But yes, excellent question. Luke Wright is going to lose, and I do not have a status update as of yet, but I did ask him.
He's ghosting us right now.
I did ask him who he would feel would be the worst person to lose to and who would have control over which side, and he has not answered yet. But I'm telling you right now, he does not want me to win because I will be vicious.
You're not gonna win.
Hey, that's you have a long shot here, Gary. You have a long shot. Yeah. Okay. Gary, yesterday marked 30 years that The Simpsons has been on television.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It is an incredibly long run for any show and is in fact the longest running scripted primetime television series in the U.S. with 28 seasons. Now, the brilliance of the show is that the animations never age unless you want them to, and they can do as many ridiculous things as you want while not having an incredibly high budget. Mm-hmm. What you're doing in 24 with Kiefer Sutherland, requires a car to blow up. You can just draw it, and The Simpsons, so you just have to pay for the talent to draw and write that. But other than that, not a big, huge budget. My question to you, Gary, is: do you like The Simpsons? And if so, who is your favorite character?
Here's the thing. I never watched a lot of like adult-oriented cartoons. I had a little bit of a South Park phase in like junior high, as most boys of our generation did. The Simpsons, I've actually really liked what I've seen of it, and out of all the characters, I'd have to probably go with Homer, because he is probably like my spirit animal of when I'm just just being a dumb dad. Out of what I've seen, I think he speaks to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you at all worried, Maddie, that he might age out to be Homer with 3 little hairs and eating donuts every day?
That would be
That might be true.
That's not a worry. That's like a.
That's a reality.
That's a reality.
I gotta tell you, I've got a great impression of the wife.
Oh, that's Marge.
Marge, she's a great character.
And now, if only you could get your hair to go up there.
Maggie, come on.
And this is why he's Homer, though.
This is why I'm Homer. Because I do stuff like this all the time.
It never ends.
You would make a beautiful woman. As Marge.
I've been told
have you seen his mother?
This is honestly like I've been told.
Oh, his mother. Yes, I thought you meant him playing a mother. I'm like, no,
this
I
has
have
always been an insecurity, but I've been told I have very feminine hips.
Yeah, I would not go to jail if I was you.
No,
that does not bode well.
We talked about this the first episode. I wouldn't survive in prison.
No,
I'm very feminine. I look like a. I look like a Greek
You're tatted
statue.
up. You got gang signs of UFOs on your arm.
I look like a Greek statue of like a beautiful woman. That's
yes.
I have.
You could be Aphrodite. That's for sure.
I have the physique of the ideal Greek woman.
We do call him. He's the young Hercules.
Oh, the young Hercules, like
the
how
young,
like baby, like pudgy a little bit.
Like the cartoon Hercules. He's like the really skinny.
Oh, the one who's like, can I play frisbee?
He can't. Yeah. Holds on.
Right.
That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great.
All right, Gary, your turn.
All right, one more basketball question for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Big news. LeBron just passed Kobe.
He did.
Not in score.
Did he pass to Kobe? Because he wouldn't get the ball back.
No. No one passes. Well, actually, everyone passes to Kobe. Here's the thing. As far as scoring goes, LeBron's got a long way to go.
Well, he passed Kobe in playoff points, correct?
Playoff, yes, and playoff points. Not, I was going to say points all time. There's no way LeBron is third all time. He passed on playoff points. It was actually a huge
accomplishment.
Stat.
Yeah, he's only behind Magic Johnson. Am I right? No, that's the triple-double stat.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Here's the thing. Does LeBron become the all-time scorer? This is like
in playoffs?
No, of points.
The debate there is not that he is able to.
Of course,
I do believe that
he has to have a really, really solid injury-free last 6 to 8 years of his career.
But I don't even think it's that, Gary, to be completely honest with you. I think it's more a matter of will he actually be there. He strikes me as one of the people that he loves basketball and he loves it for what it provides, but I don't see him as being a meta world peace, hanger on, just scoring for the end of the bench. I could see maybe Steph Curry doing that. I could see a couple other people like kind of fulfilling that Ray Allen thing, but his game specifically has a physical element to it, and it primarily focuses on that. He's been trying to shy away from that as he's aged, but he's so physically dominant that's what gives him that edge, that when that starts to deteriorate, I think he's going to be realizing that, and he will be cognizant of that and unwanting to become the Michael Jordan of the Wizards.
Because he has said his goal is Jordan. Like, he wants to pass Jordan and stats, and as far as like
he's chasing
the legend. Yeah, he's like that's the only mountain he has left to climb is for people to.
But I think, as far as, especially for somebody who's as brand aware as he is, I don't think that he wants to show us that last 2-3 years of Kobe's career, that Wizards career arc for Michael Jordan. I don't think he wants to see that decline. He wants to go out and on top for the Mariano Rivera tour of going out on a triple-double. Just actually and it meaning something, it being in the finals, whether it be in a loss or in a win. So I think if he stays along and he just plays until he can't, until they push him off the court, then yes, I do think he becomes the all-time.
Like almost everything.
Everything. He will own almost
He'll
everything.
be top 5 in everything and all-time in scoring.
Maybe not catch Kareem, because that's really hard. But
37,000 about is where it's at, and that's legendary.
But I just don't see him staying along for that much longer. I think he might retire in 3-4 years.
No.
Yeah.
I think he's got too much drive. I think he wants to pass Jordan, man.
Well, you see him resting now, and it's not derivative of him. It's more just I see that he has the ability to sit back and think about it logically. And if you can think about it logically and remove emotion, while that helps you have that kind of killer instinct as far as being like, okay, I'm going to save myself, and logically that makes sense. If you're able to flip that switch, it becomes harder to turn on and off that light before something breaks. So, good question though, Gary. I don't know if you have ever seen Rick and Morty, but a super fan of the animated show has paid $14,700 for McDonald's Szechuan sauce. The fan bought the unopened condiment that someone found while cleaning their car. The asking price was far below the closing price, but was driven up by a heated bidding war held by 16 eBay users. So Gary and Maddie, because I'm sure you're going to have to fight this later on in life, Maddie, with Gary. Is this stupid by the buyer to pay nearly $15,000 for an otherwise useless 20-year-old sauce? Mm-hmm. And what pop culture memorabilia would you pay any amount for?
So
the first part is
it stupid? Yes. Logically, you're paying $15,000 for some sauce, right? And I'm probably only saying that because I'm not a Rick and Morty fan. But if someone was like, I found Elijah Wood's toenail that ripped off on Mount Mordor, I'm selling it for like $5,000, I'd be like, babe, we gotta put some money down.
Take out some more student loans.
Honestly, so you can probably see where I'm going with this. What memorabilia would I pay any amount for?
Yes.
The ring that Elijah Wood wore that he got to keep, that Peter Jackson gave him after the filming of Lord of the Rings was over, I would shell out some major cash for that, just because that has so much meaning
to
me. Yes. And if sauce has a great meaning to you, like cane sauce or In-N-Out's animal style sauce, which is just Thousand Island, has to me, then I guess, you know what, you do you, boo.
Maddie, what memorabilia item would you pay any amount for?
Should probably pick something from Charmed. It's great. Charmed.
From which one?
Charmed.
Charmed. Oh.
Charmed, yeah, it's great.
That's fun. That's a funny show you chose for me. One thing you don't know about me, I am extremely cheap. Extremely cheap.
She's frugal. She's frugal as heck.
Oh, God bless you.
Really terrible.
It's really good.
I don't think that anything is worth.
But everybody's got something. So okay. So I was gonna say
extremely important.
Okay.
So what I would think.
Now I know that you're the one who just told me that during our Mrs. Doubtfire episode, you were the one who begged to watch it with Gary, and that you can even quote movies of it. What if you could get something along the lines of Robin Williams' mask for Mrs. Doubtfire? Would that be something, maybe?
That would probably be like... I think just like in Geek Factor, having such an item. I mean, that's like having like...
franchises.
That's like having like a... Like E.T.
It's such a nostalgic
like if you have
item.
Like the actual,
Skittles pack or something?
Yeah, something that's like extremely... Like, I would probably give good money just to like have that in my house. Like, or... You know what? I will say, and this will go along with the horror movie thing, I would give so much money to have Norman Bates' mother's corpse.
The entire corpse?
They have the entire corpse. It's actually in a museum, and it's the most famous cinematic corpse of all time.
I'm trying to think of another one. That pretty much... the only other one I can kind of think that rivals it is maybe Pirates of the Caribbean corpse with the pirate that does the show.
No.
Okay. So
not as much cinematic heft as Psycho, for sure.
It was just it was like the first time you really saw like a corpse on television, on screen.
That's interesting.
It was not...
That's extremely hard to frame, though. That would almost be like a...
No, you would have it in like your corner and a chair. I would absolutely do that.
Oh, God forbid, though. Then you come
terrifying.
You come home and it's dark. I know. Goodness gracious.
We're going to turn into some weird...
But also, the thing you have to factor in there is that you won't be able to utilize or play with whatever you buy. The person who buys this is
You put the ring on, you become invisible.
The ring's a little bit different, because that's not going to likely wear out.
I've never been a fan of like collecting items you can't use. I was always like dolls. People.
So maybe you
person.
would ask Gary to buy a sword or a knife or some sort for the
would be
Lord of the Rings.
amazing.
So that way
Sword.
you can always,
sword.
or maybe the hammer. Don't the little dwarves have hammers that you can use to
Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Dear
we're gonna
Lord,
get into
we need to get you up to speed. They use a battle axe. They use axes.
Oh, there you go. You
They
can
mine.
slice some cheeses, you know?
Can I have? I want the bow.
Oh, you want the bow? Yeah. How are you going to use that? You're going to go catch it for beef jerky or something?
You can shoot like beef jerky.
Because you jerky antelopes or whatever, right?
Because you jerky the antelopes, you know, in the forest, you know.
Thing about antelopes is you find them all in the
tons
Sahara.
of money for Legolas's bow. Yes.
Okay. All right.
No.
So a couple nostalgic memorabilia items to consider. Gary, your last question.
We're gonna end this on a high note because after
On
this
420?
week,
But
Yay!
must be the money.
starting next week, it's like the dawn of Blockbuster season. A ton of stuff coming out this summer. You got Guardians, you have Furious that just came out. God, I'm drawing a blank right now. But there's huge stuff coming out this summer. What blockbuster film are you most excited for? Just big, popcorn crunching, action, high octane, big stars, big budgets, digital effects, all the good stuff.
Oh, you know which one that I'm actually looking forward to that I'm not sure will actually be good? I have two, but I'll just say just the first one that came to mind, Pirates of the Caribbean. That one, I mean, we already said it before, of course, but I really actually, especially with Javier Bardem, he always plays an excellent villain.
As a rat.
So gross.
Missed up on
Yeah. Another one I was kind of, again, unsure of, which I love the original franchise, The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Yeah.
I gotta.
That's one of the thriller, scary movies that I loved as a kid. That's a good bad.
Yeah.
That's one of those that I don't care what you say, Gary. You
It's
can
Tom
tear down
Cruise.
The Mummy,
I love
but
The
it will
Mummy.
always get a 90 for me.
That's why I'm
That's my
worried
weak
about
spot.
the new one though.
It's Tom Cruise. He can carry a film like no other.
I
Tom Cruise is great.
I can appreciate it though that they're trying to make it a serious thing because if they actually because the first one or the first what was it 3 you can definitely see that they deteriorated and then beyond
Two
that
were great. We don't talk about the third at
the
all.
third one we don't talk about nor do we talk about the Scorpion King. That was kind of a bomb.
Again, that
a
was
dud.
one of those movies when I was 9 that I thought was the greatest movie ever.
The
So-
Scorpion King by itself.
I was 9 years old.
So was
I
I, and I
loved
knew
The
it was
Rock.
bad.
I
That was
child.
so bad.
It was, but
That was like the Prince of Persia before the Prince of Persia movie.
no.
Jake Gyllenhaal played the Prince of Persia.
Oh.
That's so
What a choice.
worse.
Did you have one really fast? I mean, maybe Cars 3.
I
here?
gotta do planes and trucks. I gotta tell you two of them: Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
Yeah,
no
of
brainer,
course.
and then Baby Driver.
I was gonna say
Because
Baby Driver. It looks
Edgar
pretty
Wright
cool.
is my favorite all-time director, and Baby Driver is gonna be a hoot, and I'm really excited for it.
An underrated actor, Kevin Spacey, is always underrated.
Underrated.
I feel like he's always underrated because you think of those top movie actors, you think of Leonardo
great villain.
DiCaprio, so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
House of Cards
You?
just really brings. And then there's Matthew McConaughey.
He's great.
Matthew McConaughey.
I got a dog in this fight.
All right, but speaking of the summer blockbusters that we'll be watching, the next one that we're going to be seeing is The Lost City of Z.
Lost City of Z.
All right, this was one that you really wanted to watch
To
and to Z,
Ta.
and it stars
Robert Pattinson. It's got Tom Holland, aka the good, surprisingly new Spider-Man,
and Charlie Hunnam,
which I believe he plays Arthur.
and you can put him on pita bread because he's
Pita bread
spread.
and Hunnam.
Yeah, because it's not hummus, it's Hunnam. So that's what we're going to be going. That opens out this week, so make sure to go check it in lieu of the upcoming episode that we're going to be doing on it. Anything else for you, Gary? Anything you want to plug?
I just gotta tell you guys about this sweet website I've been running for the last 37 years. It's called Gare Bear Reviews, GARBEAR Reviews.wordpress.com. I review every movie I see except for The Sea of Trees.
I was going to say, did you review that one?
No, I didn't have the time, effort, or life force to do anything about that movie.
Could you imagine rewatching it just to get moments?
I never want to think about it again, honestly. But anyways, I review every movie. I
It'll
put
always
lots
be in
of
your mind, Gary.
my reviews are readable. They're great. If you
They're readable. Is that what you said?
They're very readable. I've been endorsed by a lot of high-profile celebrities, so go check it out.
It's endorsed by Matthew McConaughey.
The link
It's
below.
all right.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, thanks, Matt. We'll see you in the next episode of Chopped Greens. All right, we're going to leave here. Let's go around the circle.
Gareth Boucher.
Maddie Mace.
And I'm Philip Amrine. Thank you for listening to Chopped Greens. Salud.
Bye.